share your experience, revisit, learn a bit about corpus linguistics and language use. So this is, let me just change here. What do you know about corpus linguistics and about corpus in general? So this will work as a thermometer for me. Okay, I just want to try out and check how much you know about corpus, how much you know about corpus linguistics. So if you could access Mentimeter, and there is the code there. And there are a few questions. It's just just for me to try out and see who my audience is, right? And I'm going to share our view here. Okay. Just let me know. I am sharing. No, let me hang on a minute.
No, we're still seeing the code. Now you're sharing.
Okay. And the code is up there, okay, on the top here, or actually at the top. So you have 4 possible options here. I'm new to the notion of corpus and corpus linguistics. Interesting. I have some experience with corpus studies, and those who work and use corpus quite often and always use corpus in your daily practice. Okay, great. This is actually good for me because it shows that to a reasonable extent, what I'm going to share with you and what I'm going to show is new and might be helpful to your future or your current teaching practice. Great. So let me now go back to the screen where we were. So these were the questions. This is my plan B in case, Mentimeter didn't work and I was going to ask you there. So I can assume that most of the things I'm going to say to you or share with you might be new or the beginning. Great. So what I have planned today, hopefully we might get to the end of the session. So we'll start by clarifying, right, what a corpus is, what corpus linguistics is, then having grasped the idea of what corpus and corpus linguistics are, what can be accomplished with corpus, what you can do in your daily practice as a student studying the English language and as a teacher, and how you can use corpus to inform how people use language or how you use language, okay? So to start, here, by corpus, I am going to quote Randy Rapin. According to Randy, corpus is a large, principled collection of naturally occurring texts. And by texts, she means written texts or even spoken texts. And they have to be stored electronically. They have to be in an online format because you will handle this large collection of texts. Mind you, this word here, principled collection, is extremely important because it does not mean that you can start collecting texts from the internet at random. First of all, corpus or this collection of texts, this has to be relevant to your investigation, to your needs. An example is, if I am Professora Rita, for example, literature is her area, and 19th century literature, I might compile texts by Jane Austen. So the 7 books written by Jane Austen, and then start investigating how language was used in that particular time by that particular writer. So principled collection of texts means a collection of texts based on very specific criteria, okay, or a set of criteria. And it's large, it's huge. I'm going to share with you one quite common, very much used corpus, and you can use because it's free of charge. So corpus is a collection of texts written or spoken, and or spoken. And then corpus linguistics. What do we do? It approaches, it studies language in use through corpora. By the way, corpus is singular, corpora is the plural. Okay, so you have different types of corpora. You have literature, you have political corpus, corpus of learner corpus. So you can investigate quite a lot. And via corpus linguistics, it allows us to analyze and understand how people use language to communicate. So you can study learner corpus, and you can notice the most typical hiccups in particular learners, and then devise some materials to help them learn better. Okay, so this is just one example. So corpus or corpora, large collections of texts, written or spoken. In corpus linguistics, we study, it's the analysis of what we can find in corpus or corpora. Before anything else, for us to start working with corpus analysis, we have to talk about some paradigms, some beliefs, our assumptions of what we understand about language and what we understand about learning. So I am going to share where I'm coming from, okay? So for us at the Faculdade de Cultura Inglesa, what is language? Language is not grammar only. It is, but it's not only this. So language for us, first of all, it's a phenomenon. It's bigger than just a set of rules. It's a phenomenon used to communicate. So language is seen as a communicative phenomenon. Language is also a set of tools for people to express themselves socially, to interact. Sorry, there is a very busy, very loud motorcycle coming. And so it's a set of tools for social expression and critical understanding of specific communicative situations. Because you will see here, language for us can never happen devoid of context. Language and context, they come together. Language in context within like a culture. So language is also structures and patterns are always analyzed discursively. So grammar patterns, lexical patterns, we have to analyze through a discourse. By discourse, we mean context. So language should always be presented in relevant contexts. So this is language. It is grammar as well. It is vocabulary, it is pronunciation, but it's much bigger. Okay, we use language to communicate above all. And thus, what about learning? At the Faculdade de Cultura Inglesa, then, because this is very important, this will pave the way to our use of corpus. We believe that people learn best, you guys, you are going to learn best when, when you are exposed to language in relevant contexts, when you or the learners have opportunities to analyze language in context, so corpus will help you do that. They have, when you or the students have the opportunity to check the understanding of how language works through the interaction, through interacting with people. It's okay to learn on your own. It's okay to study individually, But to fully use and learn how to use language, you have to interact with others and make an effort to understand the different people, the different accents. Learners learn best when we, they, us here are provided with support necessary in order to learn the language. And when you are given opportunities for the genuine use of the language. So you can see here what I have put in bold. We believe that people learn best when people are exposed to language, when they have opportunities to analyze language, when they use language interactively in discourse, but also with some scaffolding, what we are doing here today, for example, our live session. And when you have opportunity to personalize the language, you use English to talk about your life, your context, okay, and not about something else, a different reality, talking about the weather, and it's snowing, and it's there are gusts of winds, and so it's not common here in Brazil, right? So we are going to talk about what is relevant in our context. So we have come from knowing what language is, not only grammar, not only vocabulary, isolated, and how we learn. And how we learn is connected to corpus. So we will start with this tool here. You will have the recordings and all the slides, okay? So don't worry. But for you to use a good, a free corpus, you just, I'm writing here on the chat, you can just Google Coca corpus and you will get into free. Okay, I have activated the subtitles. So sorry. Okay, so you have free access to Coca. So let me share this with you. So this is the very, I hope you are visualizing. Yes, you are. Okay, so this is Coca corpus. Coca stands for Corpus of Contemporary American English. And in here, you can also have access to different types of corpus. Okay, so you have, plural now, corpora, the now, the news of the web, the iWeb, the Globy, Global English, Wikipedia. Hansard is legal English, the coronavirus English. So everything that was published, you can see here the genre, the news about coronavirus in 20 countries, English-speaking countries, okay? And you have soap opera, British National Corpus, you have other movies and TV, and the history corpus. But what is, you can see here, by the way, sorry, you click here on this arrow, okay? You have other impressively big, large corpora here, but we are going to stay with the 1 billion words, which is it's good enough, which is the Coca corpus, okay? So let me go back to my presentation. I wrote on the chat, the name is just Coca corpus. Let me just disable here. Okay, I did subtitles. So everything we are going to do today comes from using the corpus of contemporary American English. What can we do with a corpus? Remember, it's a large amount of information, spoken in English, spoken in written texts. You can look at language from a phraseological point of view, from a lexicogrammatical point of view, from a register point of view, or from nuances of language. So what do they mean? So here, when we talk about phraseology, we are talking about collocations. I think you might have heard about collocations in Portuguese, colocação, collocations, lexical bundles. They are groupings of words or groups of words and preferred sequences, so sequences that are always together. One thing about language, the English language, in this presentation, obviously, language is highly predictable and it's repetitive. So language is not something random. You will see that when we talk to people, when we write, we favored sequences and groups of words together. And when we have groups of predictable word patterns, we call it collocations. For example, I'm afraid this is going to be hot today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. This is a long collocation, a group or a lexical bundle. They are fixed preferred choices. When we talk about lexical grammar, you can talk about colligation. Colligation is different from collocation. Collocation, we are looking at language from a semantic point of view, meaning restrictions. We work with words. Colligation, we are looking at groupings of words that connect because of some grammatical restrictions. One example. Here I can see beautiful people from the screen. Very interested people in learning English. So beautiful people, we know that the colligation here, beautiful people, when we have a noun, and if we wanted to modify the noun, it's going to be pre-modified by an adjective. So this is it, okay? Colligations. These are grammatical restrictions that bind words together through grammar. And collocations, they bind words together through meanings. But they work all together, you will see. Like register, anybody knows what register could be? You can write on the chat. Have you heard about register? In Portuguese, it's registro as well. So, situations of use, formality degrees. You might be formal, informal, depending on the context. And then your choices of words will be very specific in this case. And nuances of language. Corpus can help you deal with these situations, questions by students to which we might not know the answers promptly. So sometimes we don't know the answer out of everything, So because there isn't, perhaps that's what we tend to say. Well, guys, this is how the English language behaves. There isn't a reason for specific use. So sometimes we joke that in psychology we say Freud explains when we don't know about certain behavior. And here in English, sometimes we say, well, Shakespeare explains, okay, because that's just how the language is like or how it behaves. But with corpus, you can help, you can have very good help at hand. So I'm going to ask you to be quite interactive here. I'm going to write on the chat before I show. On the chat, what is the difference, for example, if you have to teach your students the difference between high versus tall? Can you write down sentences? How would you explain to somebody, to your student, when to use high and when to use tall? Yes, Fabio. You are muted?
A
Hi, good
gente não
evening.
tá.
Hello,
Ah,
hi, good evening. I
Good
think the
evening.
chat isn't available. I can't write on it.
Oh,
Well, at least,
can you
uh,
try now?
I can.
yes, yes,
Okay.
correct.
Now,
Yeah,
now
it's
it's.
here.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much.
Okay. Fabio, by the way, if you had to explain the difference between the use of high and tall, can you give an example? When do we
I would
use
say that high is for buildings like, I don't know, Empire State Building is really high, or I don't know, the Eiffel Tower is high, or Mount Everest is a high mountain. And
mm,
I would use tall. We use tall to describe people.
tall
Like my
people?
brother is very tall, right?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I'm just writing here. Tall people. Great.
Hmm.
Anybody else? High could also be used for people, but in another context, yes, Haira. So one thing, and while we are discussing and having a look at your contributions, an interesting feature about working with corpus is we don't rely on our intuition. And there is a huge debate in corpus linguistics between, I'm going to write here on the chat, on possibilities versus probability. This is a big topic amongst corpus linguists. We don't work with what is possible because everything is possible. Uh, if uh, if you combine what you can combine any words in any order, provided that it might be grammatically correct but totally incoherent. It might be possible, but it might be totally incoherent. Corpus works with probability. What is probable of happening in terms of occurrences? Raquel, high is normally used to describe distance, elevation. The airplane flies at a high altitude. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We just made a quick warming up here. And then tall, it's about height of people, buildings, and so on. Okay. I have prepared beforehand because I was always afraid that my internet wouldn't work. But if we go to the Coca corpus and if you would type tall and high, if you look at here, these are the how frequent these words are. So if you see here, 39,000, about 40,000 uses of tall and high. Kasia, can you? I think I can hear the keyboard. Sorry. Okay. And high, it's 397, almost 400,000 occurrences. So we can see from here which adjective people use more often when they want to talk about height of things, of people. Um, how did I get to that? Let me just show it to you. So this is coca, okay, very quickly, but you can explore this and list. So you can do wonderful things with coca. Uh, I have to go to my site. You have here, I hope you can see it. You have some functions. If I type tall, and it will give me, look, the occurrences 34,000, 39,000, so almost 40,000. I go back and I will type high and I want to check which one is more common, is more frequent. Just for the beginning, okay? And these were from my two screenshots. Definitely. So this is one interesting conclusion. When people talk about heights, they tend to use the adjective high more often than tall. But how do they use it? So hang on a minute. I want to go back to my presentation because then it's a more logical organization. So we know that high is much more frequent. and Coca has helped me. What collocates? Remember, what is collocation again? Groups of words that come together. They are frequently used together. So when I use tall, the first number one top word that's more frequently, that uses tall more frequently is man, tall man. This is a bit odd theme. We don't know, but we have tall, it's a series of adjectives. Tall, thin, man, most probably. Tall grass, tall woman, tall trees, a tall order. So you have idioms there. Tall buildings, a tall, dark, handsome guy. So most probably you have this, 4 words premodifying guy. So if you have a look at nouns, man, grass, woman, tree, buildings, guy. Start making your possible conclusions. Working with corpus is a lot, it demands quite a lot of investigative attitude. Let me share now. When we look for collocates for high, so have a look. Can you see the screen here? And the blue square is the node, is the central. So I want to know 4 words to up to 4 words to the right of high. What comes with high? So we have high school, high levels, high level, high school students, most probably, high schools, high and low, high quality, high rates, high pressure, high risk. Put on your researcher linguist hat. What's the difference between the collocations with tall? When people use tall, look at the collocations, and the collocations with high. How can you explain? Bruno put, we can also use high to express degree as opposite of low. Yes, exactly. We have high and low. Most probably there was an idiom, high and low. And can you see the frequency of high school? It's way, way more frequent than the others. Look at the blue bar. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is, by looking at the collocates, you can also help your students know that high is used for, yes, Jean, inanimate, for institutions, for phenomenon, whereas tall is for people, for buildings, most of them. And high, and here, tall men, tall trees, tall buildings, tall guy, right? And this is it. This is the second conclusion. What are the common collocates? Now, let me show you. I'm using the Coca Live to show it to you. Let's go back to search, and a very interesting function. If you click on, I have high here, I click on words and see detailed information. What does Coca give me? Oh, I know that high is very much used in academic contexts, news, magazines. You have a dictionary, you know that. You have, but this is what I want you to have a look. The collocates. High collocates with school, high rate, high education, high price, high risk, high quality. So these are the related words. Then you can, if you want to know how people pronounce the word high, you go to Youglish. It is YouTube series of videos. But look at the related words, collocations, high order, high capacity, clusters of words, high school, higher education. And what's much more interesting here, collocates, visually collocates. So look at how frequent high school is. So remember, probability, not possibility. Everything is possible to happen. But when people use high, the probability is that they will use for high school. And at the end of sentences, okay? Or with a comma, before a comma, but high school is the prevalent choice. High level, high expectations, high excitement levels, high concentrations, high blood pressure. So, it's something less humane. So, as Jean has put it on the chat, it's for inanimate things in general. Now, if you put tall and click on words, see detailed information, it changes. It's not academic. It's very common in fiction, and it's related to vertical dimension. Look at the collocates. Tall foot. Well, we're talking about the measurement, right? Imperial measurement. So tall man, tall building, tall tree, tall grass, tall order, tall tale, tall order, tall tale. These are idioms. Inch and foot, they are measurement, right? And look at the clusters. And when we talk about tall, tall guy, tall guy, tall guy, tall occupants, tall players, tall structures. And you have here a tall athletic body, a tall bony old lady, but you can still see in blue sergeant, body, man, right? These are the nouns. Tall trees, tall guy, tall girl, tall figure. So we know buildings here. We know that this is more related to heights. So coming back to my presentation so that we keep up with a more logical organization here. So this is what I have just shown you. Okay, and I use the Coca live. It's working. The connection is great. So when we use tall, we use for these entities, for this phenomenon. When we use high level, so you can show to your students, or you can use it. Okay, and I made the point of showing how common high school is. It's top, the highest frequent use when people use high. And this is also other examples of high and tall. And remember, it's not by accident that I am showing a bigger frequency or of occurrences for high and a more restricted use of tall, because in the corpus, tall is less frequent than high. So according to John Sinclair, professor emeritus, but now deceased, from University of Birmingham, this is right, collocations and corpus. It's a useful start to get students to think about a word not in isolation, but in terms of semantic preferences. So collocations are related to semantic preferences. Colligation are related to lexicogrammatical orders. Moving on, then, let me just recap here the objectives. We checked what corpus is, corpus linguistics, what it does, and I have shown you just an example of the difference between tall and high and how we can show it to our students with a corpus. Now, what else? How can corpus inform language in use? We are going to go back to those little squares. So phraseology, it was what squares I'm talking about. Let me go back to here. I want you to have a look at what corpus can help us, how corpus, sorry, can help us investigate language. So going back to phraseology, yeah. So by phraseology, we mean collocations, groups, lexical groups, preferred sequences. And I am just going to share with you some research in the area of corpus linguistics and by different dimensions. So in terms of phraseology, when we talk about collocations, we are talking about the tendency of words to co-occur. Remember what I told you, language is highly predictable, it's extremely repetitive, and we can only see that through corpus. You can see the patterns, okay, repeating all the time. So for example one, this is an example of collocation. When you use a wide range of, it's always followed by a noun, a wide range of options, a wide range of cars. Okay, so this is one example of the co-occurrency of the words here. Kennedy in 1991 ran an investigation on how to teach the difference between the two words, between and through. So by looking at corpus, he came up with this very specific explanation. Between usually it's usually used after nouns. So we say here, what's the difference between, or the distinction between, or the meeting between people. So between is usually used after nouns like these ones. The difference between, distinction between, meeting between. Through is more frequently found after verbs. You go through a phase, you pass through a tunnel, you run through different hurdles, you fall through different dimensions. So this is interesting, and this is helpful to our learner. Now, okay, lexical bundles, they are recurrent sequence of 3 or more words. Mind you, these are not idioms, okay? Because idioms, they are fixed. And here, they are fixed phrases, but frames. Then in itself, they need more meaning to be completed. But look at here, look at this very interesting bundle. Is tarara to. It's extremely common in English. Is going to, is likely to, is expected to, is about to, is due to, and some of them are also about likelihood. Likely, expected, about. That's what they call lexical bundles. It's very different from a fixed idiom. Can you think of an idiom? Gosh, high and low, okay? This is a binomial, right? So lexical bundles, they are fixed language frames that help students sound more natural. Now, we have seen about examples of collocations. Let's have a look at colligations. They are grammatically restricted groups of words. So colligations happen when lexis and grammar are so closely connected that they cannot be productively studied separately. It's when certain lexical items, certain words, fall in certain patterns, and certain patterns contain certain words. So we have here Professor Biber, Douglas Biber, in 1999, in his huge grammar of contemporary English grammar. He has shown us that certain words are associated with certain verbs. And look at here, in a vast collection of corpus, Professor Biber has been able to tell us that the verbs here, know, matter, and suppose, occur more than 8% of the time in the present tense. And the verbs smile, reply, and pause occur more than 8% in the past. This is quite interesting if you come to think of. So we do say, well, I know, it doesn't matter, well, I suppose, it's in the present. And this is more in the narrative, right? He smiled at me and replied, and then she paused. I just paused now to have a drink of water. So 80% of the times, these three verbs, they tend to occur in the past tense. And this is only seen via corpus. I'm going to ask you now, I think it's time for you to interact a bit with me. Have a look at this text. It was taken from a real text. It's about philosophy. You English teachers, the word matter appears 3 times in the paragraph. Which way would it be more productive to teach it? I'm going to give you a few minutes for you, a few seconds for you to read this text. Try to find the word matter. How is it used, please? And how would we teach it? I'm going to read it here. Philosophy is different from many other disciplines in that learning about it is as much a matter of developing skills as it is a matter of learning a body of information. In this sense, there are no definite answers to many philosophical problems. Yeah, we know that. Becoming a philosopher is a matter of becoming able to reason coherently and relevantly about philosophical issues. Guys, did you find the word matter 3 times? How is it used? How would we teach in a more productive way? If you have to teach the word matter, you are going to tell to your students, well, use it as a big chunk. What's the chunk? Matter. Yes, Haira. Haira, have a look before matter. Is there something recurrent? Okay, the verb to be, but the word to the left of matter. Is there a word to the left of matter, guys? Yeah, Fabio, yeah. So this is the example. If we have to teach the word matter, it's much more productive if you teach your students the whole chunk instead of matter in itself, okay? And what it means, it's a question of, it's a matter of, okay? So this is what colligation means. It's the sequence of words that are bound together grammatically. Register, situations of use. We use different language with different audiences. So I was talking to my daughter just a few minutes ago. I talk completely different, and she told me that my voice is different when I'm talking to her and when I'm teaching. So this is also connected to intonation, pronunciation. So again, Professor Biber, he came up with these findings. 90% of lexical bundles in conversation are declarative and interrogative clauses. This is huge findings. So affirmative and questions, they tend to appear more often in conversations. Pronouns are used slightly more in conversations than nouns, but nouns are used significantly more than pronouns in fictions, news, academic writing. And past tense is used more in writing, and present tense more in conversation. So, guys, for him to be able to come to this conclusion, you have no idea how big, enormous the corpus he has managed to amass is. It's like, so in order to be able to say categorically 90% of lexical bundles in conversations are declarative and interrogative, but it's done for us. So this is great, these findings. It makes our lives much easier when we teach language. And I'm coming to the end of when we talk about nuances of language, when we don't know how to explain it. So we tend to say in our classrooms, come on, that's just the way it is in English. And this is it. When the student asks, teacher, why is this like this and this and this? We don't know. That's how language is. And this is true. This is true. These are the nuances of language. But sometimes when our learners and when we are learning the language, the English language, we come up with use of language which is not quite natural, and the corpus can help us. So there is something odd with this statement here. I stubbed, I hit my large toe. There is something that it's not said, it's not used, and corpus could help us. So large and big. Large is used for quantities and not for physical size. So the most natural thing to say is I stubbed, I hit my big toe instead of large toe. And how can we find this out? By using corpus. So basically, this has been my objective here, to introduce you just to this dimension. I know this is new to you. That's okay. Great that it's something new. I love learning new things all the time. I'm going to there is some bibliography here, okay? And there is some takeaways for you. You will get these slides as well, but there are the session notes with some definitions. And I am sharing 2 articles from two professors from the faculdade. One of the professors is me, sorry, but I've published with Professora Simone Rezende, these 2, and the 2 articles, chapters of books, they have the same title. It's Linguística de Corpus. And I hope you find them useful to you. They have been both published in 2023. I shared as well. Well, this is one of the articles I am here. I'm sharing with you, and in the bibliography, I have just got this new book by Pete Crosswave. To 2024. This is a very good, interesting publication. And Linguística de Corpus, this is a Bible in Portuguese if you are interested, okay? So I hope you have, first of all, enjoyed, of course, but it has been worth being here today. So I'm going to open for questions. We have some 3-4 minutes, right? Thank you, Haira. Is there anything that's not clear to you? You'd like to clarify? You have a Linguística de Corpus discipline in the, what semester, Cassia? Gosh, I was working with Linguística de Corpus?
I think it's the 6th or 7th.
Okay. That's it. In
So
this
there's a
semester.
discipline that you guys will do just about corpus linguistics.
That's it. Introdução à Linguística de Corpus, semestre 6. So
Semestre
you will
6.
have your hands on with all this.
Eu acho que eu posso encaminhar as referências, os artigos para todo mundo por e-mail, Marilisa.
Sim.
E aí, junto, eu vou encaminhar também o artigo da Juliana, que é sobre linguística de corpus também, que é o
Thank you.
evento que a gente teve na sexta.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yes.
When
E eu
we-
acho... Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead, Cassia.
No, I was just going to comment that I think it's interesting because it's what language really is like. I really liked in the beginning when you said that corpus, like when you work with corpus linguistics, there is no I think or my impression. No, you just have the facts
Exactly.
from the
Evidence.
corpus. Evidence, exactly.
So it's an empirical sort of language investigation, and Raquel is including here that she uses Cambridge publications, right? And it is corpus based. Nowadays, if you get the books, the course books, you will see that the textbooks they use specific corpus or corpora, and the Cambridge corpus is huge, Raquel. Yes. Great. You have the Longman corpus, Macmillan corpus. It always started with John Sinclair, with the co-build, with the dictionaries co-build. I don't think most of you or some of you were born back in the 80s, okay? But it's when they started working with corpus linguistics in Birmingham and also Liverpool with Professor Hoey. Okay, so we can, if you don't have any questions related to the presentation, you can also ask questions in relation to the course as well, right, Cassia? We are
Exatamente,
going to...
gente. Se alguém tiver alguma pergunta relacionada ao curso, a outras questões que sejam relacionadas ao corpus, a gente vai ter uns minutinhos agora para responder. E eu queria agradecer a presença de todo mundo, pessoal.
Sim. Todo mundo sobrevivendo ao nosso curso, com muita calma. Vocês têm até o final de julho, né, Cassia?
Até o final de junho para terminar.
Junho, para fazerem com calma. Hoje eu vi uma submissão, né, no trabalho.
Nutricionista.
Foi o Walter que colocou?
Não vi o nome, Marilisa, para falar a verdade.
Acho que foi Walter Curti, eu vi que submeteu em nome do grupo. Congrats, guys. Alguém está sofrendo, precisa dividir as angústias, estamos aqui, por favor, não sofram sozinhos.
Não sofram em silêncio.
Eu já desabafei com a Cássia hoje, então tá tudo bem.
Que bom, Mara. E tá firme e forte.
Ô, Mara, mas eu acho que porque a Mara fez uma pergunta para mim durante a tarde, que era sobre a ACC. Então, ela queria saber se uma atividade específica que ela faz já pode ser contada como ACC. E aí, às vezes, a instrução que eu dei para ela pode ser útil para todo mundo. Perfeito. Na página de documentos da nossa plataforma, vocês têm uma planilha de Excel que tem todas as coisas que vocês podem fazer que contam como a ACC. Essa planilha de Excel, se você tenta abrir ela pelo Google, sabe, o Planilhas Google, ela não funciona muito bem. Tem que ser o Excel mesmo instalado no seu computador. Se você não conseguir usar, pode falar comigo que eu te ajudo depois, tá? Mas a instrução que eu dei para a Mara foi: se tem alguma atividade que você faz, algum trabalho voluntário, às vezes isso pode ser considerado como a ACC, então é interessante que você mande para a gente uma descrição do que é esse evento, né, para que a gente possa entender e te informar, tá? E não fica sofrendo em silêncio se pode, se não pode, certo?
Cássia, deixa eu só... É que agora mudou... deixa eu colocar com a visão...
Tá lá em cima, more...
Aluno. Tá aqui, né, em Documents.
Isso,
documentos, né?
documents.
Eu estou com a visualização de aluno. Então, aqui nas atividades complementares, vocês vão ver, tá? O manual e vocês têm uma tabela.
Tem, inclusive, um vídeo de uma ex-aluna nossa, muito querida, Cláudia, que explicou como é que funcionam as ACCs e explicou como que funciona a planilha também no vídeo, se eu não me engano. Então, se vocês estiverem com alguma dúvida quanto a isso, eu acho que assim, pessoal, a única coisa que realmente não vale, que é inclusive uma pergunta que veio da Paola essa semana, eu acho interessante eu falar das perguntas dos colegas, porque de repente pode ser a sua pergunta, certo? O que não vale para a gente de curso, infelizmente, quando é curso de inglês, não vale. Então, para quem faz monitoria, por exemplo, se você é o monitorado, né? Você é o aluno da monitoria, isso não vale porque o MEC entende que isso não tem uma carga de atividade acadêmica extra, porque o nosso curso é um curso de inglês. Então, não faz muito sentido a gente contar as horas que você tem aula de inglês como um componente extracurricular, beleza? Por isso que, assim, se fosse um curso de outra língua, ou se você no futuro se tornar monitor, inclusive não vejo nenhum impeditivo de por que o aluno do EAD não pode virar um monitor da monitoria, né? Semestre que vem, Marilisa. Então, se alguém quiser se candidatar para ser monitor semestre que vem, vocês podem, porque a monitoria ela é sempre online. Então,
sim.
Raquel,
e cada sessão tem 2 horas de preparo e 1 hora de execution. Então, são 3 horas por cada aula que você
Exato. Então, se você é o monitor, isso dá bastante hora de... Inclusive, gente, a gente pode ter também monitorias, porque pensem que vocês são da primeira turma do EAD e semestre que vem eu vou ter um segundo semestre com novos alunos, certo? Então, eu vou talvez precisar de um monitor do EAD. Isso é uma possibilidade. Se alguém, por exemplo, eu vou tirar dúvida de colegas de como que funciona o curso EAD. Enfim,
a plataforma.
É uma possibilidade. Fala, Raquel, por favor.
Desculpa. Não, é só para entender sobre o curso de inglês. Por exemplo, eu estudo com o Sérgio Pantorra. Eu faço curso de desenvolvimento para teachers, né, e tudo mais. Ele não entra, porque ele é um curso de inglês. Não é bem assim de inglês, né? É inglês, mas é para desenvolvimento para teacher.
Há 2 categorias. Só se for para exam prep, Raquel, se você fizer um FCE, CAE, CPE prep, ou um CELTA ou DELTA.
Ok.
Tá? Que é Teacher Development. Aí sim, porque é o uso do inglês para atingir um objetivo.
Tá bom, então obrigada.
No problem.
Fala, Rebeca.
Na escola onde eu trabalho, a gente tem uma formação que é a formação dos teachers. Aí essa formação, na verdade não é dos teachers, é da língua estrangeira. Então, tem teachers, tem maestros, e enfim. Aí, o que acontece? Nessa formação, é passado um estudo para a gente sobre como a gente pode aplicar algumas tarefas, né, para os alunos. Por exemplo, essa última que a gente teve foi como a gente pode aplicar para os alunos e querer que eles desenvolvam habilidades para produção de texto. Então, tipo, isso poderia valer como atividades experimentais?
Service, né? Um teacher training.
Yes.
É very fine line, Rebeca. A gente vai ter que estudar e ver, tá bom?
Tá.
O que eu recomendo, Rebeca, se o seu trabalho, que, gente, a Rebeca trabalha na escola que a minha filha estuda, é a prova do mundo, coisa que eu não sabia e descobri no sábado. O mundo é do tamanho do meu
Small world, não é?
O que eu recomendo, Rebeca? Se esse curso que vocês fazem lá, se ele dá algum certificado ou algum documento de que você fez X horas, envie esse documento para a gente, que aí a gente pode analisar se vale ou não.
Tá, eu vou ver
certinho. A gente sempre vai aceitar, tá? Na dúvida a gente aceita, mas a gente quer
É importante que tenha alguma documentação de o que foi feito, o que foi trabalhado, quantas horas. Então, se tem alguma documentação, é importante mandar para a gente, e aí a gente conversa se vale ou não, comparando com o que o MEC aceita.
Tá bom, obrigada.
Guys, thank you very much. A gente ainda vai ficar aqui, mas eu agradeço a presença de vocês. Quem quiser fazer perguntas,
quem quiser
aqui.
fazer alguma pergunta ou precisar conversar comigo ou com a Marilisa, pode ficar, a gente vai ficar mais um pouquinho. Se não é o seu caso, gente, boa noite, a gente se vê na próxima
Bye
live.
bye. See you soon.
Good night. Bye
Good
bye.
night. Bye bye. Thank you for coming. Hi, Jean.
Hi. One question. And about the feedback, Cássia.
Yes, the feedback.
Qual?
Did you schedule with me?
I don't know who is the person that showed me the feedback about the semester or bimester.
It's me.
I don't
You
know.
you have to schedule it with me.
Okay.
Because I remember, because last week it was very strange for me because I had just come back from the UK, and the week before I was in IATEFL. Because I remember you sent me an email to schedule the feedback right before I traveled, wasn't it? I think that's what happened.
Me.
But yes, you can schedule the feedback with me. Just send me an email and we can schedule a moment to talk about your performance in the course.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Pode falar, Léo, please.
Hello. Eu tenho só uma dúvida referente à mentoria. Eu fiz o meu cadastro lá na mentoria intermediária, mas eu não recebi nenhum e-mail. Eu ainda não participei de nenhuma.
Meu Deus, Léo.
Quem que é o seu... Você sabe se o seu monitor, se é o Gabriel ou se é o Gustavo?
Eu acho que é o Gabriel.
Tá.
Qual seria o horário, Léo, né? Porque eu não sei. É de
Eu
sexta?
vi lá que é de sexta-feira.
Ô, Léo, coloca o seu e-mail aqui no chat só para ficar mais fácil para mim. Eu acho, Léo, que eu já tinha mandado o seu contato para o Gabriel, mas ele deve ter comido bola. Ele não deve ter prestado atenção no meu e-mail e por isso que ele não te chamou. Mas eu vou reforçar com ele hoje.
Ele é muito rápido, ele pega.
Ele deve ter passado ele, porque geralmente ele é bem atencioso, Gabriel. Mas eu vou reforçar com ele que you are part of the monitoria, ok? E aí eu vou pedir para ele te incluir no link, te incluir no grupo, porque eu sei que ele tem uma
monitoria?
Não, ele tem tipo uma página do Google, que é um Google Classroom.
Okay.
With some material, so I'm going to ask him to include you in this Google Classroom.
Ok.
Ok, Léo?
Is it B2 level? É esse o nível, Léo?
Yeah.
Ok.
É que eu me inscrevi depois que já começou.
Mas é que eu inclusive, me lembro de ter mandado o seu contato para ele.
Tudo bem.
Mas é que eu acho que nessa, sabe, assim, várias coisas acontecendo no começo do semestre, deve ter passado ele mesmo. Eu vou reforçar com ele o recado para você participar da monitoria.
Tá bom.
Tá bom?
Thank you so much.
Tá bom. E amanhã a gente encontrou o Gabriel, então nós falamos. E Léo tem RPG também, que você pode entrar fazer inscrição. Tem Conversation in English, tá?
Conversation in English é o Chat Club? Não é o Chat Club?
O Chat Club é o da cultura. Nós temos o Conversation in English, que é do Arthur Lindstrom, de sextas, das 8 às 9.
Da noite ou da manhã?
Da noite, ele dá monitoria das 7 às 8 e depois das 8 às 9 é o Conversation Club, que ele chamou. E é all levels.
Legal.
Tá?
Nice.
Mas começa com o Gabriel, então. Tá bom?
Tá bom, muito obrigado.
Good luck.
Tchau.
Tchau.
Cássia, eu passo para você, então, tá?
Tá, deixa eu parar de gravar, peraí, que eu fiquei gravando até essa hora.
Opa.
Sorry, peraí.
Imagina.
Não, agora eu tô querendo descobrir.
Foram só 15 pessoas, hein, né? Não foi